But with Tylenol, don't take it. Don't take it. And if you can't live, if your fever is so bad, you have to take one because there's no alternative to that. Sadly, first question, what can you take instead? It's actually, there's not an alternative to that. And as you know, other of the medicines are absolutely proven bad. I mean, they've been proven bad with the aspirins and the Advils and others, right? And they've been proven bad.
Some of what we heard yesterday at the White House with U.S. Donald Trump making an announcement yesterday about the use of Tylenol and a link between the use of Tylenol to autism. Now, we've heard from many doctors saying this is not true. We're going to go now to Dr. Joe Schwarcz. You know him and love him as host of the Dr. Joe Show, Sundays at 3 right here on CJAD. And, of course, he's director of the McGill Office for Science and Society. Hi, Dr. Joe. How you doing?
Hey, Elias. Not well.
Oh, yes. Rare that you see such a public display of something like this. Why don't we tackle it head on?
I've seen many press conferences over my close to 50 years now of being in this business, but never have I seen such distressing drivel as we saw yesterday. I mean, it was enough to rupture the mind. It raised scientific illiteracy to new heights. It really was unbelievable in so many different ways. First of all, I mean, Trump's rambling, his illiteracy, is the use of words and lack of ability to pronounce acetaminophen, which is the active ingredient, which is what he should have been using all the time. Why target Tylenol? Tylenol is a brand name. You can buy acetaminophen as a generic name, which is in fact the way that people buy it because it's cheaper when you buy it generically. Mm-hmm. So, that was the first thing, ridiculous to refer to it always as Tylenol. The evidence is so slight for connecting acetaminophen to autism. There are some studies that have linked it, but there are also possible explanations for that. It's what we call reverse causation, in the sense that people who are taking Tylenol during pregnancy may also be people who are predisposed to giving birth to children with autism spectrum disorder, because they may have autistic qualities themselves, and that generally causes more pain to be felt. They're hypersensitive to pain. So they would be more likely to take acetaminophen, and it just happens to be a correlation. It's not causation. Anyway, there was a huge study in Sweden about siblings showing that fraternal twins do not have an autism link, which you would expect, if the mother was taking acetaminophen during both pregnancies. Anyway, this is discussed all over the place, and the stats have been, taken apart. Also, the numbers that Trump quoted were just wrong. About 20 years ago, it'd been 1 in 10,000, and that's just not true. It is true that there has been an increase in autism, very likely because the diagnosis has evolved, and there are people today who are being diagnosed with one part of the spectrum, who wouldn't have been diagnosed with that before. But to say out and out that a pregnant woman should never take Tylenol is dangerous, because fever during pregnancy can predispose to fetal damage, and it should be controlled. Pain during pregnancy can also do harm to the fetus. So out and out say that no one should use acetaminophen, which of course he couldn't pronounce, so he always said Tylenol, that's just an outrage. And furthermore, he kind of left the impression that nobody should be taking Tylenol for anything. This is, it was just outrageous. But really the most outrageous thing in this press conference was linking it to vaccines. They didn't just stick to the Tylenol business. All of a sudden he veers into this diatribe against vaccines, which was just total nonsense. So to to hear these kind of words coming from President of the United States, he says, I think that nobody should be taking Tylenol to pray. Who are you? Who are you to tell people what to take? What background you have? Zero background. You have no reason to be talking about this. Leave it to the experts. Also, of course, I could not understand how Dr. Mehmet Oz, who was standing by, who at least has half a brain, I mean, for sure, he was an accomplished cardiac surgeon, how he could just stand there and drink this in. Unbelievable.
Well, so can I ask you on that? Because when it comes to Dr. Oz, it seems like he was there to promote leucovorin, a form of folic acid as a treatment for autism symptoms. What's that?
It has been studied, and the studies have been very small, involving very few children. In some cases, they did show some improvement in verbal skills. Very mild. There's a test that is usually done that looks at 60 factors and asks 60 questions. And there was a 1.2 grade improvement, out of 60. I mean, very, very small. It's worth looking into further, but to suggest that this is a treatment or a cure for autism is absolutely ridiculous. To not really be able to explain to the public that autism is a very complex condition. There are genetic factors that are involved. There may be some environmental factors, but it needs a lot more research. And to call this press conference as if there had been some new information that came forth. No, there's no new information. There was nothing here. This was purely a political thing to try to impress the people that this group of clowns is actually doing something on the public's behalf.
Dr. Joe, you know how the clock is here in radio, but in the 30 seconds or so that we have left, what's just your advice to everyone listening on their usage of Tylenol? Should they just not change anything?
Obviously, they should be consulting their physician. Doctors have been trained to do this. Trump has no training in anything. He has no right to be giving advice to people. So consult the physician, because in some cases during pregnancy, it is appropriate to take acetaminophen when the fever and pain call for it, because that also puts the fetus at risk. So it's absolutely outrageous to come out with a blanket statement that no one should be taking Tylenol, and he should not even be using the word Tylenol. He should be using acetaminophen, which, of course, he was unable to pronounce.
Dr. Joe, we'll be listening to you on Sunday at 3. Thanks so much for coming on.
I think I may have some more to say about it.
Definitely fodder for maybe a whole show, in fact. That's Dr. Joe Schwarcz, director of the McGill Office for Science and Society.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years.
And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.